Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio, and I come to you every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time here on Fishbowl Radio Network at Globe Life Park, Arlington. Although I am working and living on the Big Island of Hawaii, but this is my last Hawaii show. My contract and time are up here, and I'm getting ready to come back to the mainland. I'm kind of excited because I get to hang out with my boys, Taylor and Aaron, and they are hilarious. Well, hey, this is 2021. 2021. So, we're getting ready to have a big 2021, everybody. And hey, I want everybody to start this year on a positive note. At least I am. And I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my science department at K-Al Middle School, where I've been teaching for the last year, and to my team and to my elective team. Y'all have made me feel so welcome and so honored. Well, today we have a young guest. Oh, wait a minute, before I start, I got one more congratulations to give. Cash, who is one of our student teachers at K-Al Middle School. I need to congratulate him because he won a teacher scholarship for this semester, and I am extremely, extremely proud of Cash today. I don't know if he's listening, but hopefully he will be. Okay, now I think I'm done. So, time to get to our guest. I always have to tell y'all how I meet my guest, because some of them I meet in weird situations, but this is not a weird situation. This young lady would pull up at work every day about the same time I would. Big old pickup truck, little old bitty sweet young lady in a big old pickup truck. And I thought she was a student at first. Well, not a student, but one of our student teachers. And so one day I asked her, I said, "Who are you?" And she told me she is the daughter of two of our teachers, Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds, that teach at my school. I said, "Well, are you student teaching? Why do you come here every day?" She goes, "I'm in college and the Wi-Fi is better." And I'm like, oh, this baby. COVID has her coming to middle school to do her college work. But, she was there every single day. She's even there now. She was even there today. So I am extremely, extremely proud of her working so hard to get what she wants. And getting what she wants is a degree in chemistry and biology from the University of Hawaii, Hilo. So I want to introduce to y'all Emmalani Reynolds. She is, I don't know, were you born here on Hilo or not? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was born and raised here.
She was born and raised here on the Big Island of Hawaii. And so I know her parents are extremely, extremely proud of her. Emmalani, will you please introduce yourself to our guest?
Well, thank you for that introduction. That was very nice. Very happy to be here. Very excited. So I'm 20 years old as of now, soon to be 21 during this pandemic. Currently doing my second semester of my junior year at the University of Hawaii at Hilo, where I'm a biology major and a chemistry minor. Technically, my full title is I'm getting a major in conservation, biology, ecology, and evolution. Mm-hmm. That's the track that I'm on. Mm-hmm. Currently working as a research assistant at the organic chemistry labs at UH, and hoping one day to pursue a career in STEM.
That's exciting. So I want to know a little bit about your journey. What got you? I mean, Hawaii is a beautiful place. I mean,
Yes.
I have each island is different. And I drive around and look at waterfalls and go find turtles and go swim with turtles and all of the foolishness and crazy that tourist type people do. But what got you involved in wanting to pursue a career in STEM or conservation? How did that start?
Honestly, it hasn't always been like that. Obviously,
Okay.
when you're little, you have different ideas of what you want to be when you grow up. And for a while, around in like middle school, I wanted to be a book editor because then I'd get paid to read books all day, and it sounded pretty great to me. And then one summer, I think it was the summer I was going into the 8th grade, my parents signed me up for this conservation outreach to the youth program that our Department of Land and Natural Resources has set up. And they signed me up for this program, and I spent 2 weeks going to different natural area reserves and conservation projects all over the island where they allowed people or kids of my age at the time to participate in what they were doing up there. So I got to do a lot of native planting and bird watching, invasive species removal, stuff like that, conservation work, and I loved every minute of it being out there. It was, as you said, it's a beautiful island, especially in those areas where people aren't allowed to be. A lot of them come close to the public. Only certain people are allowed in there, and as I was working in there and getting to be a part of these projects, I realized that I truly did live in such a beautiful and special place, and that I wanted to basically dedicate my life and career to it. So this is me continuing that plan, I guess. And then as school went on, I had my first real biology class, and I knew I was on the right track, and I thought it was so cool learning about how the life that I saw around me works on different levels.
I mean, okay, where did you graduate high school from? Which high school did you graduate from?
Waikea High School,
Waikea?
right across the street from Hilo, actually.
Okay. No, the reason I asked that is I know with me teaching, when I first got here, I was teaching science. And just to talk to some of my students about the different areas around here, when you live somewhere, you kind of take it for granted. Oh, I live in Hawaii. Yeah, we got palm trees and fruit everywhere. But in talking to a lot of my students, I was surprised at some of the information they were giving me about the different plants and the different animals and things that are here and that come to visit here. Now, when you were in high school, what was science like for you?
In high school, science was I imagine it was different than from what it was in the mainland, just because culturally here it's very stressed the importance of the land and life in the natural sense. So a lot of science here was pretty big picture. We did a lot of just ecology kind of focus, which probably why I fell in love with it, just because I'm a big picture kind of science girl. And yeah,
because I'm going to tell you, I was just totally amazed that, in 7th grade, I would tell the kids, I would ask the kids, well, what should I go look at? And they would give me these lists. You should go here, you should go there. But if you go there, they normally won't arrest you. And I'm like, what? And that was some of the lava places they were telling me to go to. But I was just amazed. And I did get to go to a lot of the places that they sent me. And so much of the island is so different.
Definitely.
It's not the same all over. Since you were able to go to some of the different places, can you give my audience some information about the different ecosystems that you've been able to visit or work in while you were here? I mean, since you're here, since you live here.
Yeah. I definitely focused a lot in the forest. So there are rainforests, probably where I spent the most amount of time. Absolutely beautiful, just stunning biodiversity. Everywhere you look, there's a new plant and a whole chorus of different bird songs, especially the higher up you go. Then there's a dryland forest with just the amount of biodiversity, though you have to look a little harder. Obviously, since the trees usually are made up of two different types, but
what
lots
types
of different
are
shrubs. Usually in dryland, a lot of them are mamane trees.
Okay.
They kind of really twisty branches. They bloom these beautiful bright yellow flowers. And when they all go off, the whole forest is yellow because it's a dominant tree in these in that ecosystem, and it's actually the main food source for one of our critically endangered bird species, the palila. I think their population is down to the thousands at this point, and they're kind of unfortunately reserved to this one portion of the slopes of Mauna Kea, just due to several factors leading to their decline in population, from avian malaria and mosquitoes and habitat deforestation. And but there's a lot of projects working on getting their numbers back. I'm not sure if you saw the big mural in downtown of the palila. They're that cute little yellow bird.
Yeah.
They're finch. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah. Wow. A lot of people are fighting for them.
Well, I mean, you have to think about it. When you look at these particular ecosystems, like I said earlier, if y'all don't know, every island is different. Every island is different. If you go to Oahu, that's more like being in Dallas, Houston, those areas, because it's very built up. If you go to Maui, that's more like being in Austin, and I'm saying this because the show is based out of Texas. If you come here, it's more like being in Waco. When we talk about Waco and the towns around Waco, because of how the population is. But I want to get back to what you were talking about, the conservation areas. When you talk about the rainforest here, and with me being a working guest here, what areas of the island am I going to find the rainforest?
Well, volcanoes are where you probably find the most of our rainforest. There, as you go towards Ka'u, there's rainforest, but once you get more towards the south, it gets more to that dryland forest. As you go towards Waimea, there's up on the hill that you can kind of see, there's a big rainforest called Hakalau, and it's a beautiful bird conservation forest dedicated to bird conservation. I mean, absolutely stunning, massive. Not a lot of people have been in there, and you can tell just by how pristine the forest is, and how when you walk in, you can just hear how untouched it is by how many birds that are singing.
Mm.
Yeah, very,
I bet that has
very
got
lovely.
to be nice. I bet that's just got to be nice up in there and just peaceful.
Very, very beautiful. That was definitely one of the places where I was like, this is something I want to dedicate my time and efforts towards protecting and rebuilding.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, what you're getting ready to do is so appreciated, and it's gonna make a world of difference to to our future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are just joining us here on All About STEM Radio, we are talking with Emmalani Reynolds, who is a student at the University of Hawaii, Hilo, majoring in biology and chemistry with a focus in conservation. And we are talking about the diversity here in Hawaii and her journey into the University of Hawaii, Hilo, which is already amazing, because she's just told me about some places I haven't had the ability to visit yet, and I have a week left, but that's okay. But Emmalani, I'm going back. When you went out on, well, let me back up. What is the difference between a rainforest and a dry forest?
On the most basic level, the amount of rainfall that it receives, and because of the amount of rainfall it sees, that obviously affects the type of life and that can inhabit the area. You can kind of see a lot in rainforest. They allow more the plants, trees, and such to grow taller, larger. There's a lot more green. Not more species per se. It looks a lot fuller. In a dry forest, it can be just as biodiverse. It just looks less, just because we kind of have the tendency to relate green to how much green you see as kind of like the success of the forest. But more in a dry forest, it tends to kind of have that gray kind of undertone. A lot of the leaves will have those kind of the fuzz on the leaves that give it that kind of like that silvery color texture, as opposed to, well, in like a rainforest, it'll have that waxy green, so it's a lot more vivid and bright, and you'll notice it more. A lot of the time, as I mentioned, in rainforest, the trees are a lot taller and fuller, and in dry forest, they'll be a lot lower to the ground, a lot more branchy.
Now, due to the eruption of 2018, 2019, or 2017, 2018, when we had those months and months and months of eruption, how much of the biodiversity was lost due to that, or was much of the ecosystem lost due to the lava flows?
Yes, it's hard to say, like, put a number on it, but a lot of it was lost. Unfortunately, in those areas, there's a lot of development, and we see kind of at the lower levels of the island, elevation-wise, there's not as much biodiversity as you would see up at higher elevations for several reasons other than just development. a lot of it is invasive species tend to be more prevalent at the lower elevations, and not only just plant-wise, but animal-wise as well. Pigs and monkeys, rats, stuff like that tend to be more prevalent at lower levels, and probably for our biodiversity-wise, a lot of it is bird-related. And at the lower levels, we hardly have any native birds due to the mosquito populations with avian pox and avian malaria. A lot of the birds are being forced higher up at higher elevations just because it's colder up there, and mosquitoes aren't breeding as much. But of course, with global warming, their areas where they're safe from that are getting smaller and smaller, because there's only so high that they can go. The forests stop at a certain point. So we're hoping we can slow it down.
You know, I hadn't even thought about the loss of bird population here until now that I'm talking to you. I mean, I look around, I see beautiful birds all the time, and but I know there are certain teachers or certain teacher spouses. I'll be on the backside of the school, and they'll say, "Oh, did you see this bird? There are fewer and fewer of them coming every year because of whatever is happening." And one of the birds is this really pretty yellow bird that comes on campus in the fall. I mean, it's just cute little, just bright yellow bird. Do you know what kind of bird I'm talking about? I cannot think of the name of it.
Yeah, I think you're talking about saffron finches. They usually come in pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're just bright yellow. And one of the teachers was telling me it's fewer and fewer every year. So hopefully we can change that. I know I was talking to a conservationist from Midway at the beginning of the school year, and they have out at Midway Atoll, they have albatross that come out there.
Yeah.
But they're being overran by mice. So they were doing things to reduce the mouse population there, because the albatross population was going down because the mice were eating the eggs. So
yeah, that's a big problem here too for our nene geese populations. Mongoose, rats, and cats have a tendency, or mongoose and rats have a tendency to eat eggs, while cats tend to attack the fledglings.
That's interesting. So that's one of the things. I mean, that's one of the things being on the island. The conversations that I have with people are totally different than being on the mainland, because I get introduced to something new. I was getting introduced to something new almost every week, even though we were in COVID. You know, somebody would be saying they were growing this or that. But anyway, I want to ask you some questions about your journey into college. I know you're in your undergraduate, but tell me some of the courses that you're taking that focus on your major here in Hawaii, because things here are totally different than being on the mainland, because you have a petri dish of everything here to really study.
Definitely. I've just recently been able to get more into my major. Before, I had to take a lot of just general education classes to get into more of my major. Unfortunately, I've had to do it during COVID. But,
I know.
yeah. semester, I took evolutionary biology and genetics. Those are more centered in my major. This semester, though, I'm super excited because I'll be taking conservation biology and advanced ecology and evolution. I've also taken ecology, just general ecology, cell and molecular biology. Of course, I had to take chemistries as a part of my major. I took, just for fun, not necessarily a part of my major, I took an intro to wildlife science class, and it was one of my favorite classes ever. We got to, part of the classes, we went on field trips, and we got to go all over the island to, again, nature reserves that we have, and learn about them more on a college level as opposed to back when I learned about them in middle school and high school, and it was very, very interesting. I had a great time. A lot of my classes, luckily, living here, involved field trips to different places on the island. I took probably, I think my first semester, I took a Hawaiian ethnozoology class, which was very fun. We visit. It's basically it's a zoology class of sorts, but focusing on animals that were important to Hawaiian culture.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of them were fish or marine related. Learned a lot about different marine life and how they would use them in different practices, or how they would cook them, or just how Hawaiian people would, in general, would, I guess, work or be a part of or use their the life around them. Very interesting.
You know, that is totally interesting because I don't know how it's going now, but I mean in colleges and universities, but that is so important to get out and understand how your area, works. What is important in your area? What do you have? How does that deal with the people there? How does everything work together? Because I look at some of the things here and I'm like, okay, how did they know to cook foods in certain leaves, or whoever said poi was gonna be good? and you know me, I go to the different stores and I'm like, okay, who said dried squid was gonna be tasty? That kind of thing. But a big part of it is just dealing and eating what you have within your environment. So, right. But anyway, we're talking about your classes. What else have you taken?
A little more out. Well, I guess technically in my minor, and I had to take it for my major. I've taken a lot of chemistry classes. Just basic general chem 1 and 2, and then I took organic chemistry 1 and 2, and last semester I took analytical chemistry, which was very interesting. I never really considered myself a chemistry person, but
what is analytical chemistry?
Basically, analytical chemistry is just, we were able to learn about different techniques and equipment that's used in chemistry research. What you would use certain devices for, how you would use them, how to interpret results. Very, very interesting.
It's like you're getting so much different hands-on from back in the day when a lot of us did this, and plus you're, like I said, you're in a major petri dish of everything. But now, based on what you're majoring in at school, you also do tutoring for students.
I
So
do.
in what subjects do you tutor?
I'm just an organic chemistry tutor at the moment.
Ooh.
So I tutor for organic chemistry 1 and then organic chemistry 2.
Oh, that's heavy. That means, y'all, she's really smart. But I don't think you have a choice having your parents. Your parents are amazing. But if y'all are just joining us, this is Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio, and I come to you here on Fishbowl Radio Network every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time. And our wonderful guest today is an amazing student from University of Hawaii, Hilo. Her name is Emmalani Reynolds, and she is a biology major, chemistry minor with a focus in conservation. And y'all, being here on the island, if you ever make it to any of the islands here, don't just do the partying. Get out and see some of the beautiful things that you can see. Emmalani, we were talking about your tutoring. I know what the education system is like around here. A lot of my students, they know, certain things about nature and stuff like that. But is there a big need for you for tutoring in chemistry?
I would think yes, just because I think traditionally organic chemistry and chemistry in general is a difficult subject.
Yes.
Perhaps maybe just because I think when I was first getting into chemistry in general, it's just hard since it's on a molecular level, so you're not seeing what you're supposed to be learning about or solving, I guess. So I think it's definitely a need for just a little extra help in chemistry is always welcome. When I was taking these classes, I used tutoring as much as I could as well.
So did I.
Yeah.
And I like how you put it when you said you can't necessarily see what it's about. You have to learn and you have to put it together. Whereas when you talk about biology, a lot of it you can see. So,
right.
And if you grasp that at that level, then you probably are an amazing tutor. Now,
thank you.
But hey, now with the situation with us being out and learning online, how has that affected you? I didn't because I didn't know you were a junior. Because this is the time you're supposed to be doing a lot of your hands-on stuff and going out stuff, and so how has that affected you in school?
It's definitely been a rough transition, especially because I am a junior, so I was able to begin my college career in person, and I really enjoyed it. And that wasn't even during a time where I was really in my major, and now I'm taking classes that I would absolutely love to be doing in person, but unfortunately can't. I'm definitely someone who enjoys face-to-face interaction when learning. But luckily for me, all of my professors and everyone at UH has been super accommodating and have been doing a really great job at trying to make the best of the situation and make up for the fact that we can't be in person. They're all been really willing to help and be present in this trying time, and I'm very, very grateful for the staff at Hilo, especially in the biology department and the chemistry department.
Now, do you ever go on campus to do any work now, or is 100% everything online?
The last 2 or 1.5, I guess, semesters, everything has been 100% online. I might be going back to campus to work in the labs, but not for class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understandable. I mean, safety is still key, even though we don't have nearly as many cases on the islands as they do on the mainland. But, you know, our cases go up and down.
Yeah.
A lot of the professors
are in the danger zone, kind of. Yeah.
The age group.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they come over here and enjoy it and they just teach. But, I mean, that's so understandable. You know what I love about that? You said they're in that danger. And a lot of us, if we look at that is age group, medical situation. And for your teachers to have adjusted so well, because when you look at a lot of us of a certain age, and I'm saying us because I'm of a certain age, going to online learning could be a challenge. But seem like your teachers haven't had that challenge. I mean, it seemed like they've stepped up to the plate and done extremely well with that challenge. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that they're doing, that y'all are doing in your classes? Are they lecturing? Are they doing demonstration? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, a lot of them are doing Zoom lectures. For my analytical chemistry class, we had a big portion of it was lab work, of course, since a lot of it was learning about how to analyze chemistry research. And what he would do was he would kind of take his phone, I think it was, and he would just go around the lab and do experiments, and we could watch and ask questions as he does things. And it wasn't the same as being there, but it was still very engaging, and I was still able to learn a lot from this adjustment.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, it sounds like the instructors are really, really adamant on making sure y'all learn, because, you know, this is trying times. People can kind of get over, okay, here, read this, do this, and take a test later. But having educational experiences is very important. And it sounds like your teachers are having you have those experiences. Now, have you thought, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What were you saying? No, I said, it sounds like your teachers are having y'all have those experiences.
Yes, definitely.
Now, what is the class size like with your Zoom lectures and stuff?
Well, as I kind of get more into my major, the classes get smaller.
Yeah, that's
the classes are a little more specific. So they're usually about 12 people, no higher than 20. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so I'm asking that because, you know, I don't want to insult anybody, To those of you who are listening, Hawaii is part of the United States. So, coming to school in Hawaii, you may have smaller classes than going to some of our major universities where you may have 120 people in a class. So,
Yes,
I'm just putting that out there.
I personally love my smaller classes. You get to interact with the professors more, and I think it just makes class more engaging and fun. You build a relationship with the people around you, your professors, your TAs, the whole department. As you get more into your degree, you start seeing the teachers again. So that relationship's over there, and it's kind of just a big family atmosphere. It's very nice.
That's what I like about Hawaii. Hawaii is a big family and atmosphere, because for some reason I am auntie to a whole lot of people over here.
Yeah.
Auntie, who you talking to? Okay. But I like that. I mean, that the fact that the courses are smaller. I mean, the class sizes are smaller, and well, other than being in a COVID situation right now, the experiences are a lot more hands-on and meaningful to the culture. Because that's one of the conversations I've had with other people in science, is cultural relevance in science is extremely important, because, you know, what you have in Appalachia and what you is going to be different than what you have in Texas, which is going to be totally different than in California, that's going to be totally different than in Hawaii. So making things relevant is important, and I like how your teachers are doing that. Now, what do you think what are some of the avenues or career fields or things you're looking at pursuing when you graduate? Have you started thinking about that yet?
I have started thinking about it. Definitely. I've definitely leaning towards research. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've not necessarily done conservation biology research yet, but I have been doing chemistry research, and I've loved being a part of it. So I think that's definitely something I want to continue pursuing. I also, as a tutor, have found out that I enjoy teaching and helping people get into science, make it a little less daunting and more enjoyable. So potentially teaching either while I do research or afterwards are definitely the routes I'm looking at going towards at the moment.
I mean, and that's interesting. There is, I don't know if you're on Facebook, but there's a Andrew Brinker you may want to follow. He is a biology / environmental science teacher in Texas, and he also does research on snapping turtles. So yeah, he's had me out with him catching turtles and tagging them. But just some of the things he does is amazing. And I can't think of what Carl's last name is, but they're with Texas Turtle Association. And just seeing some of their research, I found some of it is funny, some of it is fun. People post different things that they find, and being here in Hawaii, you can find all kind of things. I never felt I'd be driving down the road and see a whole gaggle of hogs on the road just sitting there, okay, looking at you. Okay. But do you, before we go, because we've got about 8 minutes left and I've got a couple more questions, but do you have a specific area of conservation that you like more? Be it birds or water or um, plants? Do you have a specific area that you like more, or are you just generalist?
I'm definitely more interested in birds, probably having to do with growing up here, and a lot of our biodiversity is within our beautiful different species of birds. So I'm definitely hoping to focus on that, though I'm not horribly picky. I think the whole field in general is great. So if I get into any of them, I'd consider myself very lucky and perfectly happy, but definitely interested in birds.
Mhm. So, well, hey, I'm going to tell you, having a loss of avian creatures, is a huge loss because of what they do for us. With them, their consumption of insects and so on and so forth. But I mean, you've just opened my eyes to a couple of things here. When you mentioned the mosquitoes carrying diseases to some of our birds here, and to the fact that, and I never even think about the mongoose, attacking nest or anything. And for those of you who don't know what mongoose is, they look like a ground squirrel. Um, they were brought in many, 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 many years ago. And correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I am. Many, many years ago to keep the snake population at bay. So you come to Hawaii, you will not see any snakes. There are none, unless you bought it with you as a pet, and you better not let it go. So, but I didn't think about those things as we were discussing birds. So that is something new to me, and I've learned something new. And we've got a couple of minutes left, and I do not want to get yelled at, which I get yelled at every week, so I get over it. Hey, um, I want you to take this time, because I know you have wonderful parents, and talk about your parents a little bit, thank them, tell your mother I still need a couple of recipes based on your dad talking about what she cooks. But how have supportive have they been in your education and your decision?
They've been extremely supportive. I wouldn't probably have been here without them. My mom's the one who signed me up for the conservation program all those years and years ago, and I'm incredible every day. I'm incredibly grateful every day for that experience and all that they've exposed me to. Just being here, definitely raising me in such a beautiful place that I'm so lucky to call home, and has shaped me into the person that I am today. Along with them, I'm absolutely have, I know everyone thinks this, but I definitely have the best parents in the world. Yeah, they're very, very supportive. Always listen to me ramble about things that I've learned. Never, yeah, just very, very supportive. I'm very grateful for all that they've helped me with, and allowed me to pursue.
And their names are?
Craig and Elizabeth Reynolds.
Hey, yeah, and they are awesome people. Craig has let me
Very.
he has let me come and steal weights out of his gym to do my what do you call it? My bridge testing with, and Elizabeth has come and grabbed stuff and walked through my classroom. So, needless to say, they have both helped to remind me that I'm alive every day, especially on Wednesdays when we have our meetings. Well, Emmalani, you have been an amazing guest today. And I want to say I am extremely proud of what you're doing and your commitment to hanging in there and continuing your education. And if you send me an invitation email to your graduation and it's safe to travel, trust me, I will show up. It's Hawaii. I'll come to Hawaii for any reason. I will show up. So, you know, um, if you send me a invitation email saying I'm graduating on this day, it's safe to travel, we are doing an in-person graduation, I will show up. So, have
Thank
a
you.
spot on the floor so I can sleep somewhere, and I'm good with that. I'm from the South. We just sleep wherever we fall. But hey, thank you for coming on to the show, and good
Thank you so
luck.
much for having me.
You've been so much fun, and good luck in your career pursuit. So,
Thank you
ladies
so
and
much.
you're so welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Dr. Mary Payton with All About STEM Radio. Today we interviewed Emmalani Reynolds, who is an outstanding student at the University of Hawaii, Hilo, majoring in biology, minoring in chemistry with a focus in conservation. And she is a junior, which means she's got one more year, which means I may make another trip to Hawaii. And please, 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 next week I'll be back on the mainland and doing the show from Globe Life Park. So until then, I will see y'all next week.